Hello everybody, my name is aubni and I'm here all alone in the desert. It's quite sad, except I got this little thing here to keep me company. It's a game that I made, it's called Dr Nim. I said it's a game that I made, but I was actually strongly inspired by by a game called Dr Nim, which is also my inspiration for the name. It's not just a typo on my name, it's actually the name of the game. I found out about this game on the channel Stand Up Maths. It's a YouTube channel about math and puzzles and logic and all that good stuff. If you're into it, you should go check it out. I'll put a link in the description, and also check out the video on the game Dr Nim. So I didn't come up with the game itself, but I decided when I started to make it in Minecraft. I never saw anyone who had already made it, so there it is. It's a big mess of redstone and different colors. And in this video, I'm going to show you how the game works and how to build this thing here in Minecraft, and even probably how to improve on it. So yeah, that's the game here. First, let me explain to you how the game works. So the game is played against, well, the game itself. You're playing against Dr. aubNim, and the point is, well, in turns between you and Dr. aubNim, you need to move that light between 1 and 3 spots that way, and the player that reaches the end wins. So let's say I move it twice, so I end up here, and then Dr. aubNim moves it 3 times here, let's say, and then I move it I don't know, twice again here, and he moves it twice too, and then here, as you can see, if I move it 3 times, I end up here. I'm the one who turns on this light and I win. It's pretty straightforward. So how you play it? Well, you just press this button how many times as you want. I also have a little indicator panel here that shows how many times you played in case you forget in the 3 seconds that you just pressed. Anyways, I just wanted to put this thing here. So yeah, you move it like now I moved it 3 times. I can't move it more, so it's cheat proof. You need to move it between 1 and 3 times. So you press this button, it starts Dr. aubNim's turn, and there's a little note block here that made a sound that told us, well, Dr. aubNim was done with his turn, so I need to start again. Again, just to show you that it's cheat proof, I need to move it at least once. I cannot not move it. So let's say I move it once and then start it again. As you can hear, there's some redstone computing, piston moving behind here, and Dr. aubNim is done with his turn, so it's back to me. And now, I'm in kind of a pickle here, so let me just, I'll move it once and hope that he moves it once or twice. So go, Dr. aubNim, it's your turn. Come on, not 3, not 3, not 3. Stop, 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 stop. I lost against my own game. It's pretty sad. So yeah, that's how the game works. Now I will show you, well, how to build this, but first I will explain the principle behind the game to show you how it actually works. So if you already know how it works, you can click on, let's say, click on my face right here. Click on my face and it will skip directly to the tutorial part of the video. As you can see here, we have 13 lights, meaning that we have 12 moves that we can do. Since a move, once it's been done, it cannot be done once again, we can take the analogy of picking items, which is how I'm going to explain this this whole game, how to actually win it, and how the whole game works. So yeah, we have 12 items that we can pick. To make sure that you win, you want to start your last turn in either one of these situations, so with either 3 items, 2 items, or 1 items. In either one of these situations, you can pick all the items, and so you can pick the last one. To make sure that you start your last turn in this situation, you want to make sure that your opponent starts their last turn with 4 items, because that way, if they pick 1, you have 3 items left and you can pick the 3. If they pick 2, you pick 2, and if they pick 3 items, you pick 1 item. So here, since it's all the same situation, you'll just repeat the same process. So if you start your turn with either 7, 6 or 5 items, you can take out just the right amount of items to make sure that your opponent will start their turn with 4 items. So basically we just repeat the same process here. To make sure that this happens, we need to have the opponent starting their turn with 8 items, and same thing here. So if your opponent starts with 12 items, you will win if you know how to play correctly. So yeah, that's the whole principle. So since there are 12 moves that we can do, so 12 items that we can pick, the first player, if the second player plays perfectly, the first player will always lose. It's as simple as that. So for that, I have to say, wait, I'm really sorry to anyone who played that game and thought that they could win and spent hours and hours trying to figure it out. I'm really sorry. I know that there's been some people who played it a lot and really thought they could solve it, and no, I'm sorry, it just cannot happen. So yeah, basically what I'm going to teach you here is how to build an unwinnable game. So yeah, I'm that kind of person. Yeah. So now let's get on to the tutorial and see how to make that game happen. First, we will start with the display portion of this build. So you need first of all to put a line of 13 lights. 13, I think it's 13. 4, yeah, 13. Oops. And then you put this here, one here. You don't actually have to use diamond blocks. It's I strongly recommend that you do not use diamond blocks. It's quite expensive. I just use those to make it like clearer on the other side. When I'm on the other side and I'm working here, it's more obvious where the input is. So 2 buttons here and a button here. This one, I think I didn't even describe it. It's the reset button. It's not it's optional. You don't have to put this, but it well, no, it doesn't do anything, but when you press it, it will reset the game. So if you're in the middle of the game and you want to start again, or you can't finish it, you need to leave, you just press the reset button and everything will get back as it was at the beginning of the game. So yeah, and then you go behind here and you put 2 lines of blocks here, so that and that behind every light. That's where we put the comparators. We put the comparators that will send power to this block that will power this light. You put a torch on top here of the last block of the line. It's what's going to detect the victory. Like when this one is turned on, it will reset the whole game. And then you will need to put a big hopper chain loop thing behind all of those comparators. This will well, the items will travel throughout the chain, and it's a loop actually. So it's a loop, so the item will travel all along, and when it gets to the end, it will just go back to the start. And then you need to put furnaces on top of every one of those hoppers except for this first one here. The reason that we put furnaces on top of hoppers is because it apparently reduces lag, and it's a good practice when you are on a server to do such a thing. People will hate you less because they will probably hate you because you made a game that can be beaten. So if you do that and you increase the lag on the server, it's like a double hate source. So yeah, don't do that. Now let's work on the inputs. First input well, we need to put a torch behind this block here, which is Dr. aubNim's input. And now that's all we're gonna do on this one for now. We're gonna work on it later. And we need to put some wool. I suggest you use colored wool just to make sure, because as you can see, there's a bunch of circuits, like a bunch of lines, so it's easier if you pick different colors of wool, just to yeah, make sure you're not getting confused between those. So yeah, we put this here, and this is a monostable circuit, a rising edge monostable circuit. We're gonna put one non-stackable item in it. Oops. And then we put a comparator here, and this here, we're gonna put a torch right there. We'll see later what this torch is for. Then this and this and this. So three blocks here, one going up and one going on the other way. We put a torch here, a repeater here, and some redstone dust here. What this does is, well, this torch here powers this hopper, so the item won't go out of the hopper, and also it powers this block, which in turn powers this whole line. So whenever this gets unpowered, it will send items in the hopper chain there. And this here is as I said, a monostable circuit. So when you send power to it, it will change it into a one-tick pulse. So instead of having the length of the signal that we get from the button, we just get a one-tick pulse, meaning that for one tick this will get unpowered, meaning that the hopper will move it from one space, like it will only get moved by one hopper at a time. So I press it once, it moves one spot. It won't move more than that. Simple as that. So let me just put this, wait, no, I need to keep it. That's it for this part, and there's last thing we need is to put two hoppers that run, well, that was weird, two hoppers that run into each other right there, and we need to put 4 shovels in there. I use wooden shovels because they're the cheapest non-stackable item that we can get, I think. Yeah, pretty sure that's the cheapest. So yeah, put 4 non-stackable items in this one here. Now for this second line that we're going to build, you need these 4 items that I have in my inventory. First, we will put a piece of wool. Need 7 pieces of wool in the ground, so you have to dig this in the ground to put this wool. 2 comparators here. We're actually building a pulse extender, and yeah, this here, this here, this here, and this here. What this will do, and yeah, a torch here. This torch here will lock this hopper, and this hopper is locked by this torch. This torch will get unpowered, so it will unlock this hopper whenever the player sends an input. So now there's only 3, and there's 1 here. So basically what it does is that it keeps track of how many moves the player has made. So if you made like 1 move, there are 3 moves left to be done. If you move it 1 more spot, there are 2 moves left to be done. So it will tell the computer, the Dr aubNim, how many moves it needs to do to complete the 4 moves in a whole turn. And the rest of this thing here is because we will need to unpower this whenever the Dr aubNim's turn is finished. We'll need to unpower this, so it's a pulse extender that will turn off this this torch here. So if as you can see now, torch is turned off, and it stays turned off for some time. Yeah, and now it turned back on and locked this hopper. So it will allow some time for this hopper to empty itself in this other hopper that is locked. So this next line, will take the input from, well, take the value that you get from this hopper. So it will actually track how what to do depending on how many times the player has played, or the player has pressed the button. So we go like that. Now, just to make sure, yes, you need to put 7 redstone dusts, because each non-stackable item will put a signal of 3. So nothing is done here. No, there's nothing played. If there was one thing that was played, the signal would reach here and unpower this torch that you put here on the inner side. On the other side here, you put one more, again 3 blocks away from the last one. So 2 items will send a signal of 6, well, a length of 6 for the signal, so it will unpower this torch. And 3 items, well, it's just going to reach further here. You don't need a specific signal for the 4th item. And now you dig this again underneath, put a piston here, and stretch the line up to there. Basically what this does is, well, we're gonna need an input when we have one item, well, or when we've played once, when we've played twice, and when we've played 3 times. And also when we've played 3 times, as you can see, if I take 3, it unpowers this torch here, which retracts this piston, and, well, retracts the block, which means that the player can't play anymore. The player input gets ignored because the power is not running in the block. So let's just fill this back up. So yeah, that's it for this line. Next line now. For this next line, we're gonna start right under this torch here, and we're gonna dig 3 blocks deep, and we're going to dig all along here, until, yeah, it's here. Yeah, you have to be in line with this torch here, and you dig up to, yeah, right here in line with this piston. So you need to put wool at the bottom here, all along here, one more right over there, and you put some redstone dust on top of it, so make sure that it's powered by this torch. You carry the line here. Those last 2 we won't put any redstone, we'll put a block of wool here and a torch on the other side, and another block of wool here and a torch on top. And now we will build a two hoppers facing into each other with an unstackable item. Wait, we'll just keep it unstackable item in this one. What this does is, well, this hopper here is locked by these 2 torches. This one here will detect if you have played at least once. So if you played at least 1 move, there will be an item in this hopper. This torch will be unpowered, blah blah blah. And this torch is unpowered, so this torch is not locking this hopper. So when we press this button, this torch will unpower and unpower this hopper, meaning that the item will go into this one. This one isn't locked, so we didn't stay in it, but believe me, it works. So it's simply it's like the other part where we make sure we cheat proof the whole system. So you have to have played at least once, at least one time, one move, to make sure that to allow for Dr. aubNim to play. Yeah, that's it. Now let's get to the next line. For this next line, we're going to, first of all, be a good server member and put furnaces on top of every hopper. Don't forget it, like I did. It's just good practice. So yeah, for the actual line, we need to put a comparator right here, running out of this hopper here. Why is there? Yeah, stupid thing. Yeah, here, comparator running out of there, running into a block here with a torch on top and another torch on the side. This torch on the side here is supposed to connect with this orange line. If it's not connecting, you've got a problem. But yeah, Now we need to put a block on top of this torch here, and 4 blocks that way. We put a redstone torch on the side here at the end, and oops, a redstone dust right here on this furnace. This thing here will lock this hopper. So basically what this line does, wait, no, I'll finish it first. We need to have some redstone dust over here. So yeah, what this does, as I was saying, it's detecting whenever Dr. aubNim's turn is finished. So if, no, here, this torch here locks this hopper here, so whenever you send a signal that the player's turn is finished and that it's Dr. aubNim's turn to play, this item here will be sent in this hopper here. Since it's locked by this torch, it won't move. And when this hopper here gets emptied, it won't send the signal out and it won't unpower these torches, meaning that it will start this yellow, orange line that I explained earlier, and it will also send the signal here to unpower this torch to send this item back there. That's all this line does. You can add a little optional part, a node block right there on the side. It's just gonna send the signal, like make a little sound whenever Dr. aubNim's turn is finished. So just to warn the player that it's his turn. So yeah, that's about it for this line here. Let's get to the next one, for which we'll need all these items here on my hotbar. So first of all, we put a piece of wool here with a comparator on top running out of this hopper here. So this will be used to detect if it's Dr. aubNim's turn, and it will run into another piece of wool with 2 redstone torches on one on each side. And then 2 blocks of wool, one here, and a redstone dust on top here. And now we're going to build a redstone hopper clock, something like that. I don't remember how they're called. Some people call them etho clock, but I think it doesn't even, like, etho himself doesn't call them like that. So whatever. Yeah, so we're gonna build this little contraption here. So we need to put these things here, a dust here, comparators here and there, hoppers, oops, here and there, furnaces on top of the hoppers, obviously, because we're good people. And yeah, and then we just need to put items in there. I put 4 items. It doesn't have to be a very long cycle. Like, the more items you put in there, the longer the cycle. Only 4 items, so it's fairly fast-paced. And basically what this clock will do is that for each cycle it will send a signal to play 1 move. So basically what it does is, well, yeah, when I have an item in there, it means that it's Dr. aubNim's turn. This gets unpowered, this gets unlocked, so the clock runs by itself. It runs, as I said, fairly fast-paced, and it will run and it will play until this gets unpowered, and so until this item gets removed, which will end its cycle. That's really all there is to it, all there is to this line here. So now we'll get to the next line, which is actually a pretty simple line. It simply links up the green line here, like this, right there, to this dropper here. Oops. Like that, so you only need some redstone dust around here. It's just to link up this clock here, so it will toggle on and off, and it will send a 1-tick pulse through the whole system. So it's basically just to control Dr. aubNim's turns. So we can test it out just like that, so it moves 1 spot each time. and then it's done, and now the item should be here. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, this whole thing works for now. Great. Now let's get to the next line, which will actually be 3 lines that will link up this whole system here to these 3 lights that will indicate how many moves the player has done. So for the first one, we will link it up with this torch here. So dig 1 block, then 2 blocks down here, and then we just go and meet this light. We need to put a block behind the light and another block 1 space below with a torch over it. So this torch will power the light and the redstone lamp, I mean. And we send a redstone dust trail right there just to unpower this torch. Same thing with this one, a block behind it, another block down with a redstone torch under it, and then we dig 2 blocks deep, and then we just carry this on up to there. Yeah, right there. We need to line up with this torch here, which will be our input, and this line is really long, so we will need a repeater just to keep the signal going. So let me just fill all this with some wool. Why doesn't it go where I want it? So yeah, we keep this redstone line going up to here. That's where it loses its power, so we just put a repeater and it goes on and unpowers this torch. And the last one, a little bit different, we will make it go over the last one that we just made. So just like that, and it needs to go and get attached to this torch here. So a block right next to it, just like that, and then some redstone dust over these blocks here until we run out of power right here. Now we're going to invert the signal like that, and we don't need those 2 blocks. So yeah, that's it for this these 3 lines. Let's just go and check if everything works. So we'll take 3 shovels, make sure we can see it correctly. So 1 move, 2 moves, 3 moves. It works. So the lights turn on when they need to. That's perfect. Now let's get to that next line. For this next line, we will need to build up 2 blocks over these 3 blocks here. So just like that. And then we will put some pistons, some sticky pistons facing downwards right below, well, right below each one of them. And then we link them up like that. We need to put these 2 blocks one below, like at the same height as the piston, otherwise it doesn't work, and I do not have any good explanation for that. It just doesn't work. Never really found out why. So yeah, just like that. So we need to connect it to this torch here, which we placed when we built the green line. And so we link it with some redstone dust, and basically what this does is when this torch gets unpowered, it will retract these 3 blocks, so these lights here will never turn on. So this torch here will get powered when it's Dr. aubNim's turn. So when the computer is playing, basically what happens is that these 3 lights here will never turn on, so you do not get the information like about what the game is actually doing, how it actually works. And you can just check this out just to see that yeah, it does work. When there's an item in there, these ones will get retracted. So yeah, that's basically all that this little thing here does. But for this next line, we will actually build the reset mechanism. So we need to go behind the block with this button here and put a redstone torch, and then we put some redstone dust right under that torch. We dig 2 blocks deep right there, and we need to see this orange wool. We will run a redstone repeater in that wool block, and we will need to put a torch right there with redstone dust here to link it up. So that's for the reset mechanism. So when this torch turns off, it will activate the orange line here that will empty this item hopper. If there are any items in it, it will get emptied, just to make sure that when we reset the game, we really get back to the start with 4 items in here. And then we put a block over this, a torch over this block, and a block here, and we will build a little 2x3 with 1 block over here, up here. Some redstone comparators here just to build a pulse extender like that. We need a torch on the side here and a sticky piston facing downwards there that should grab this block here. So whenever, also when we press this button, it will start this this pulse extender, which will retract this piston and the block underneath. This torch will keep this hopper locked, but this redstone line will get unlocked, and so the item, wherever it is, it will travel along the line and back until it ends up in here, because this one is locked, so it won't push the item out. So that's it for the reset line. And for the last line, which will be the end of the game detector, we need to start over this torch here that we put, that they will detect if there is an item in here. So this torch will turn off whenever there's an item in that last hopper. We need to carry a line here up to there, and we run some redstone, we place it all over here with a redstone torch right there. So basically when the game is over, it will send a signal to this little circuit here that will send the item back in the front, in the beginning, right there at the start. And then we can add some redstone repeater to add some delay. Oops, not break this. Yeah, we add some delay here, and we can also add some node blocks just to make a cute little song to indicate that the player has lost or that the game is finished. So we can add some node blocks. You have all the room that you want over here to add the node blocks and make the song as cool as you want it. So yeah, that's it for this whole thing. Now let's just try it just to make sure it works. So if I move it once, the game moves it 3 times. I move it twice, the game will move it twice. It should. Yep, perfect. And if I move it 3 times, he just moves it once and wins. Nice, this whole thing works. So yeah, great. Now if you have any idea on how to improve this, as I said, I would like to put in some improvements. The first one being, well, that the game could be winnable. That would be quite cool. Also, if we could find a way, it shouldn't be too complicated, but to make it be playable by 2 players instead of playing against the game that 2 players play against each other. That would also be quite interesting. Maybe adding more light, or like an option to choose how many spots you want it to move. Those are all improvements that could be quite cool, and that I would be really interested in seeing. If anyone has any idea on how to do this, I'll probably be working on that, and yeah, trying to improve this whole thing, because as of now it's a cool concept, but it's not that fun for a game, because, well, when you know that you cannot win it, yeah, it kind of loses its purpose. So yeah, so that's it for this thing here. Now let's just get up close, personal. I want to thank you for watching this video, this tutorial. As I probably forgot to mention, this is my first tutorial ever, so if you have any comments about something I did that sounded wrong, or just any comments, you're more than welcome. I would gladly take them. I'm really trying to improve on that thing. So yeah, and if you liked it, please leave a like, and if you want to see more of what I do, you can always subscribe. It would also be very appreciated. So thanks a lot for watching, and bye bye.